The conclusions from the last European Council meeting restated Europe's unambiguous approach that it is essential to keep the 1.5-degree global warming limit within reach. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate on Taoiseach on his speech to the Conference of Parties meeting in Glasgow yesterday. It was an eloquent statement of Ireland and Europe's commitment. The praise that Taoiseach's speech received, both here and in Ireland and internationally, was very well deserved. The European Council highlighted the importance of climate financing for developing countries to help them respond to the challenge of climate change. We absolutely need to hit that €100 billion target. We committed to $100 billion and we must reach it because trust is so low from developing countries that rich countries are really prepared to stand by their promises, and we must rebuild that trust. The Taoiseach's announcement that we will do more than double Ireland's contribution to climate financing to reach €225 million by 2025 is very welcome in that regard. We have a good reputation when it comes to financing and aid compared to other countries. It is a profound statement of our own identity as a country, especially in this decade of centenaries, that we help countries who are least responsible for climate change, but who unfortunately will have to deal with its worst effects. We're not only in a climate emergency, we are also in a biodiversity emergency. The European Council took note of the preparations for the COP15 meeting on biodiversity in Kunming in China. This is particularly relevant given the upcoming CAP strategic plan for Ireland. Yesterday, I chaired a meeting of the Joint Oireachtas Committee on the Environment and Climate Action, where we heard from farmers and advisors who are working on programmes to enhance the capacity of their farm to support wildlife and biodiversity. Projects like the Bride project in Cork and the Burn programme in Clare are showing how farmers can take the lead on biodiversity because they are the people who know the habitats on their land the best. They told us that the current systems in Ireland do not reward farmers enough for increasing biodiversity on their farms, but they also said that Ireland is a European leader in the design of results-based environmental schemes, and we do have the know-how to make a big difference on biodiversity. On 15th of December, the Eastern Partnership Summit will take place with the now 5 post-Soviet states to the east of the EU. I am deeply concerned about the situation with political prisoners in Belarus. I'm aware that Belarus was suspended from the Eastern Partnership back in June, but I was gratified to see strong language from the European Council calling for the release of all political prisoners in Belarus. Of course, we in Ireland have our own special link with the opposition in Belarus, and we must not forget the plight of people there as democratic rights are continually eroded. I want to address the energy crisis, which was discussed at European Council, and European countries were encouraged to use short-term measures to alleviate the effect of rising gas prices across Europe on households. What frustrates me is that we are actually using short-term measures to do this, but those measures are being opposed. I'm talking about the carbon tax, where we specifically targeted increased social welfare payments on the cohorts most at risk of energy poverty. Yet, in the media and in this chamber, I hear the carbon tax increase being condemned by the opposition. Let me be clear. Households on lower incomes are better off because of the carbon tax increase. Those parties who are calling for the carbon tax increase to be reversed are in effect calling for energy poverty to be increased. Taxation is a good thing because it gives us revenue to redistribute. We are increasing carbon tax in a progressive way. We did it last year, we will do it this year, and we will continue to do it for the lifetime of this government. Of course, the European Council also noted that ultimately we need to accelerate the energy transition so that Europe is not at the whim of third countries for its energy supply. We talk about Ireland's opportunity in offshore wind, but when we look at the potential of offshore wind on the Atlantic coast, it is as much a European opportunity as an Irish opportunity. We have so much more generation potential than other European countries, and with the development of a pan-European supergrid, we can help to power the continent and create jobs on the western seaboard in counties like my own, in Limerick, in Kerry, in Clare, in Galway, Mayo, Sligo and Donegal. Digitalisation is a key focus for the European Council, and perhaps it is an area we need to focus more on at home. My colleague, Minister Oisin Smith, was in Limerick yesterday to meet with organisations and businesses, and as one of the ministers responsible for digitalisation and e-government, I know he is committed to making government services more accessible and efficient. One of the recent success stories, despite the recent delays in application processing, has been the online passport application system, which was developed by Action Point, a company in my own constituency. E-government can deliver significant savings to the Exchequer and can make citizens' interactions with government easier and quicker. In the private sector, the Council has focused on data portability, allowing citizens and indeed companies to move their data between platforms decreases lock-in to proprietary platforms and increases competition. As we have seen from the activities of social media firms, there are competition concerns if a few companies become dominant in their sectors. We are right to pursue a regulatory regime that encourages competition, privacy and interoperability. The HSE cyber hack in Ireland reminded us of the importance of digital systems that are resilient to attack and the large human and economic damage that can be caused by criminals. Part of our strategy to improve cybersecurity must be led at a European level. Cooperation between countries in Europe will help us maintain resilience and the safety of our systems, in particular against cyber attacks. I want to conclude by returning back to the COP26 meeting in Glasgow. Ireland and Europe need to lead on global ambition and climate. As the Taoiseach said yesterday, those of us in the developed world, those of us who have frankly contributed most to the problems that confront us all, have an obligation to support those who are most acutely challenged by their consequences. Ireland accepts that obligation. I repeat these words of the Taoiseach today and I endorse them. The time to act is now. Gur Mágat.